Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir sponsor Lui Nishma Sam Yakushom Labas Yitzchok. We're holding in Basra Daf Kuf Samech Tes. Starting Daf Kuf Samech Ches and with base in the bottom. We're mamish now getting closer to the end. Oh, it's a week away. Says the Watoni Rabbanon. Harei Sheba v'Omar Ovad Shtar Choivi. Where's it going? It says Shtar Choiv is got lost. That's what he says. He says Ovad Shtar Choivi, which means that the Shtar Choiv that is doing that he has got lost and he doesn't know what to do. So what is he going to do? Comes Eidim and say, yeah, true, we did it. We were the ones. It's 100% emes. Emes lamito, he had a shtar choiv and everything is right. Ain't koisin what a shtar. You can't write it again. Oh, we'll have to go going to get to it. It's two stars and the same thing. But that what? B'shtorei halva. That is b'shtorei halva. Hava, meaning because you can't write another star. If it's a sale, koisin. So this is an important nekudo, which is in general throughout. We learned this really when now we're coming to the end of Maseches Nezikin. There's one big Masech called Maseches Nezikin. You have the first gate, the second gate, the third gate, 30 prakim divided into three. Throughout the Maseches Nezikin, we saw this concept that there's a difference between Mekach Umemkar and Alvo, because Alvo, the shtar is the main method, the main instrument to come and extract a loan. But by Mekach Umemkar, the instrument we learned, which is in the Masechta, you're doing a kinyan. You're doing kinyan, Lechazek Yikni, Kesef, Shtar, Chazaka, you're coining. The shtar, many times, is only a raya balance. Just to tell you, I want to give you a raya. This is my deed. You should know this is my this belongs to me. So one says, here you see come to fruition, saying, give him the shtar without a chayis. He can't use it to extract anything. It's going to be a document saying if the karka is by him, so he can show somebody I have a deed. So without a chayis, well, he wasn't explained to anyone with base what exactly the chayis is. It says the Gemara, what's the shtar mekach umemkar? You don't give it back. And Rav Shimon said another thing, and this will explain the fruits of Shimon Gamliel. What is exactly over here the machlokes? Person gave a gift to somebody else. He wrote a shtar. He says, Reuben gives to Shimon, this is your gift. Now Shimon gives it back to Reuben. Is that considered to be that the matana came back or not? So that's the machlokes over here. According to Shimon, just by giving the shtar goes this way. And then what's going to tell us very soon in the daf is because oisios niknois b'mesira, which means when I give you the letters, it's as if I'm passing you the actual shtar, the actual kinyan. Oisios niknois b'mesira. So I'm giving you the shtar. That's the tafsir or the arrow. That's the holding of the shtar. And just by giving without doing any other kinyan, that's good enough. So Shimon Gamliel holds if I gave you the shtar, you already own the karka. So why? Because it was here. What? Yeah, I gave it to you, give it back. Same thing can make a chumemkar. If I sold you something, give me back the shtar, so it went back to me, right? So that's what Shimon Gamliel says. Don't write another shtar. Why not write another shtar? So here it gets a little complicated. You see, in the right side of the Kusam Chesam base, you have a toisis. The toisis is a very long toisis. It basically brings two ways to understand it. But the concept is, according to Shimon Gamliel, if the shtar comes back to the seller, so the chira is void. So if I'm going to write another shtar to this buyer, he may give the first shtar back to the seller. And the second shtar, meaning there will be some agreement. I'll give you back the shtar because you give me back the money, whatever the agreement is. But then he's going to have another shtar in his pocket because you just wrote him another deed. With that deed, he's going to say, 1 second, here is my deed. According to Rabbanon, giving the first shtar back to the seller doesn't give back the deed. Unless you have a kinyan, you have to do something more than that. You have to have Eidim. So I don't care if he gave back the shtar back to the seller. But according to Shimon Gamliel, if I give the shtar back to the seller, so then that is considered to be a transaction, giving it back to him. So if there was original, when he comes, this person says, my shtar got lost. I don't know what to do. Write him another one. Now he has 2 deeds. He gives 1 deed to the seller, so he gave back the karka. But he has another shtar in his hand. But the difference between the first shtar and the second shtar is this be'emes or not be'emes? Meaning, if let's say a person has 2 shtars, and he gives back 1, and he holds onto the other, do I say really it is a transaction that you're giving it back, but he was going to lie about it? That's the first shtar thesis. Or the shot is, if I have 2 shtars, giving back the first doesn't help. So the seller thinks they're getting back a shtar, but really he's not getting anything because the buyer is still holding on to a different shtar. So whatever the reason is, the point is, when you're giving the Rishon holds, I have a problem over here giving you another shtar because you may give the first shtar back to the owner. Says the Gemara. The Gemara is going to go back to this Rishon Gamliel as we go through the daf. When you do give it to him, don't write achrayas according to Rabbanan. My time of Safra, if you shen koisu shtei with sodachas. This is what, as Tesla mentioned, when you have over here I don't want to have 2 shtars in the same field. So even if I have a shtar with achrayas and I have 2 shtars with achrayas, so each one is you have 2 shtars, 2 ways to take from the karka. What's going to happen if you have achrayas? Why? The Gemara explains. And the Gemara in the beginning says something which seems to be a little too long. As the Gemara is going to ask in a moment, what happens if I have 2 shtars with achrayas? So I'd be able to extract the money or the karka from different buyers. I go to the first buyer with the first shtar. They'll give me the karka back. I'll give him the shtar. Then I take the shtar to the next buyer and say, 1 second, give me back the karka. I'll give back the shtar. Right? That would be a simple solution. The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says something a little more complicated. What is it? Maybe the Baal Choiv will come, the lender of the seller is going to come to this buyer and say, sorry, I come before you, I'm taking your karka. Then this buyer will take the shtar, go to his to a buyer, say, oh, I'm meaning another buyer, because I came after him. He says, I'm an earlier buyer. My shtar is written in Nisan, your shtar is written only in Sivan, so I get your karka. Tells the lender, I'm going to hold on to this karka, even though you have a loan, which was maybe earlier. Let me stay in it for a little bit. I'm going to stay in it for a little bit. I'll hold on to it. The other tirfon, then come and extract it. Come and take it out, but with a chayiv. In other words, he's going to do it in 2 stages. He bought a karka. Comes the lender and says, karka is worth $500,000. I have a loan of $1 million. Give it to me. He goes in, takes that $500,000, right? He goes to another buyer and says, I come in for you. Comes the lender with a shtar of $1 million and will take the other 500. Says the buyer to the lender, let's do a little kinunya. We'll do some plot over here. Let me be here for a little bit. Let everything relax, a little forgotten. And then you come and take it, and then I'll go to the next lekoach. And the Gemara is explaining why you need a relaxing period. Says the Gemara, right? So he says, and what's the point of what he's waiting for? As Rashbam points out, he's waiting for 3 years. We learned earlier in the Masechta, 3 years is a chazakah. So wait for 3 years for chazakah. And then everybody's going to forget about it. It's going to be assumed that it's mine. And then I'm going to go and do it again. So he says, what do you mean? The lender cannot come and extract the loan because he's going to be tearing the loan doc. When he's coming and taking the money out he's taking the karka from the buyer because he comes first. Once he takes it out, you tear the shtar. Maybe tell me I'm not tearing the shtar. And that's why the lender could come again. Any tirfa, what's a tirfa? Tirfa is the right to extract the land. Right to extract the land, that's the tirfa. If you want to see, it's an important sequence of events, how the events went, how they transpire when you have a loan. If you look at the Rashbam says the following. The Omer of Nachman. 3 lines before the end of the narrow lines. Kach hu seder. This is the order, the sequence of events. Comes the lender to the Beis Din and says, comes Beryl to Beis Din and says, Shmerel owes me money. So they call the Loiva and say, please come to Beis Din. If he doesn't want to come, they put him in Chayver. See, the Rashbam is missing one point. The Bava says, I don't have money to give you. So they tell him to give him a star tir. What's a star tir for? It's almost like an extraction star. Go, you have the right to investigate what other lands did this borrower have. Wherever he finds these karka, or any buyers that bought it after the loan started, show the star to somebody in that city. They can again let him take to extract the karka.
Needs the basic permission to do that?
Yeah, in other words, he's coming to extract. He has to come to bet. He has to use the police system, the justice system. He can't just go and take it. He has to come and do it in an official way. Now, what happens when that happens? Now comes stage 3. Shtat karoso means once you identify the land, you found the land in Lawrence. It says the Lawrence property of Beryl belongs to Shmuel. Right? That's what we saw in Bava. And he says, you can't use a tirfo is the right to investigate and look for a karka. So now you identify the karka, you have to take over. Then you go and you do evaluation. You take an appraiser. You say, 1 second, how much is this land worth? How much is if the loan is less than the land, you don't take the whole land. So in other words, the sequence of events is, he comes to Beis Din with the shtar milve. Then they give him shtar atkaroso. Shtar tirfo, sorry, shtar tirfo, what?
And they keep tearing up the window.
They always tear away the previous shtar. So shtar milve says, Shmuel owes money to bear. Shtar tirfo says, you have the right as a lender, you prove to Beis Din that the money is really owed to you, go and look for a karka to be goyed from. Then goes shtar karoso that says, this is the land that he's going to take. We identify the land. And then there's a shtar shumo, which is the valuation, the appraisal of the karka. These are the stars, 4 stars.
They keep tearing up.
And keep tearing the previous one. So says the Gemara. So now we're back to the Gemara. You want to tell me the guy took out the karka, but maybe he still has the loan back. Why? Because they didn't tear it. How could that be? Anytime you do a tirfo, which is the right to extract, to investigate, and doesn't say that we tore the previous style of all, lav tirfo. That's not, you can't use it. They call it adrachoso, that's what you said, adrachoso, I said karta, adrachoso. Hey adrachoso, which is the next star that says we identify the land that the lender is taking. It doesn't say there that the previous star tirfo is torn, lav adrachoso. That's also not a good shot. They call shumo. Again, what's a shumo? The appraisal. So it says we tore the previous star. Star number 3, shot karoso. Not shumi. That's not a shumo. So what do you mean? How can you tear it? How can you have a star law? So we're not talking about a lender who's coming because of a loan. And you're right, it has to bring a loan. We're talking about someone who comes and says, well, what are you doing in this land? What do you mean? I bought the land. From who did you buy the land? I bought the land from Reuben. Reuben? Do you know that I have this? This is the land of my father and grandfather, forefathers. This is the land of my family for 5 generations. Well, what do you mean you bought it from Reuben? It's not Reuben, it's mine.
No star?
No, then you don't do a star. Star of us is no star. To be 18. To be 18, to prove that I was, and the guys, if the Reuben says, no, I bought it from you, give me a star, show me. Or give me 18. So that's what he's coming with. So that he can come multiple times. There's no star. He comes once, and 5 years later comes again, and 5 years later comes again. And that's the case over here. And that's going to be a grave with different karkaras. And it's going to be grave with the karka multiple times. And the buyer is going to have multiple stars to be goyve again. And that they will do this plot to goyve multiple times. So now we go back to the lush of the Gemara. When it says, how does it work? The buyer has a land. Comes the lender, takes it. So the buyer takes another land. Comes the lender, he tells the lender, let me be here a few years, then take it, and then I'll do the whole cycle again. Why a few years? Just do it right away. Typically, the Nokich trade star, because he has two stars, Torah ve'ala Torah. If he goes to the Kuchas, does it twice. Says the Kohen, Ken Afishia Alei Balidini. Person doesn't want to be busy with multiple lawsuits at once. This guy isn't based in with, this guy isn't based in with. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to do one at a time. More focused, more, more relaxed. And that's what he does with it. That's why he doesn't want to do it multiple times.
Most people.
What? Most people. Says the Gemara, give him a star. Well, he said he wants a second. Where all this discussion is, he came and said that I lost my star. So you tell him, I can't write you another star because you're going to maybe have two. So why don't give him the star? Write a shaver. Tav is a shaver, which is a receipt. Any star that comes on this karka, psulim, meaning from this person, except that star that we wrote on this and this time, basically. What do you see from here? Ein koisrim shaver. Which is a sugi we'll get to soon, in 2 days, in Masechta. We don't write receipts. Why? Because then, as the losh of the Gemara there is, he's going to have to keep the receipt from Achbarim, from mice. I don't want to deal with receipts. Right? Like today, you go to the store, you take a credit card, you want a receipt. I don't want a receipt. I need more papers. I don't want to put the papers. I don't want a receipt. Give me the star and let me tear it. That's it. You don't have a way to give it to me? I'm not, so don't give another star. Something one that kusa with this one base. Maybe you do write a receipt. All kind of time, maybe the Balchoiv will come, take it away from the buyer. And he's going to go to the Kuchos. The Shaver can be the Kuchos Leikum. What's the Shaver going to help? What's the receipt help? If he comes to the owner's going to say, I have a receipt. Very nice. What happens if he doesn't come to the owner? What happens if he goes to the next buyer? The next buyer doesn't have the receipt. The receipt is only by the owner. So the more so if the Kuchos love Amri Da'ari Ahadri. So 1 second. How does it work? You go to the buyer, the next buyer, the buyer that came after you. Say, I'm our first buyer. Give me back the land. So, okay, take the land. What does the buyer do right now? He goes back to the owner. Says, Mr. Owner, the seller, you sold me a land that belonged to the first guy. So what does the seller say? No, I have a receipt. This child doesn't work. So even though the buyers don't have the receipt, only the lender has the receipt, it's still going to be fine. Says the Gemara, the problem is, what's going to happen in between? He's going to eat fruits. When you have a land, it will take a process. He's going to take the land from the buyers. The buyers will go to the seller. The seller will say, what are you talking about? They're going to look. They're going to base it. In the meantime, passes 2-3 months, and he's going to be benefiting or ruining the field and using the fruits all this time. Inami, or another reason, what happens if the buyer doesn't have a chayes? Sometimes a buyer buys a land with no guarantees. Says, okay, I'll take the risk. And comes the lender, comes the previous buyer, takes it away. So he says, okay, I lost. It was a bad bet. He doesn't know that it was wrong. He's not going to go back to the seller. Says the Nami. So why remember, we spoke by a seller, you don't write, right? We want to say, do you write another star or not? So we said by Mekach Memkar, do you write another star? Do you not write a star discussion? By Balvo, the Gemara said that you could do it. Right? So by star Alvo, you write sorry, Shoiver, I said it wrong. You write it, you don't, not at the beginning of the studio, you said you write a receipt. The Gemara says, really, you always write a receipt. But here the receipt won't help. So why do you write a receipt by a lender? Because you'll give it to the borrower, then he pay back. So the same problem, but maybe the lender's not going to go to the borrower, maybe he's going to go to the buyers. So the Gemara says, Yach ishtor alvoy nami. Also the zuzi mazik amir paisi balchoy bezuzi. Hochadari masik many idea the man masik amir bezuzi loy mefais. I'll tell you what. When you come to a lender in a borrower, a classic borrower, someone borrowing money, not a land, he's borrowing money. So when the lender comes to the borrower and says, I want to take your land, they'll say, 1 second, I'm not giving you your land so fast. Maybe the borrower paid you back. Because usually a borrower tries to pay back. Hi, what do you do with the shtar? I don't know. Let me check. I'm not giving you the land so fast. But when you have a seller and a buyer, the buyer knows that the previous buyer is not taking money. He wants the land. He went, he did research on the land, he did his due diligence, he went through the 3 months of closing. I'm not going to give money back. I want my land back. So that's why when you have a land, the buyers will not protest. They won't fight it. They'll give him the land. And many times it'll be a mistake. You give them the land for no reason. But by a lender, they're always going to come and say, 1 second, I want to give the money first. Says the Gemara, so that's what the Gemara said. Here, by land, nobody's coming to pay with money, and they're going to assume that probably the land was taken. So what does the Gemara say till now? When you write another shtar, what's the problem with the shtar? You may come to extract shloikadin. Hi, what's going to happen if you extract shloikadin? The Gemara says it won't be right away because he doesn't want to have so many lawsuits together, but he may come in 2 times. You have 2 stars, he may come extract twice. So they won't just write a shaver, write a receipt. Well, the receipt won't help because the receipt is by the seller, not by the lekuchos. By a loan is different. By a loan, the receipt does help, but not by a seller. You write, you give him a shtar, according to Rabbanon, without a chrayas. So how do you write without a chrayas? You write the following. Shtora dinan, this following shtar, the shtar is not to use to extract any land, not from a shul body, meaning by a lokach, and not from nechor. Only to keep the land, it's only a deed for the buyer to hold on to it. That's what the shtar is. You see from here that if you don't write anything, what do you assume it is? It is a chayes. We learned this in Masechus Bava Metzia. Another place it came. Masechus Gittin. When I don't have a chayes, what's a chayes? Chayes means that right in the land, a regular shtar has responsibility, has guarantees. The guarantee is if there's any issue with the title of this land that I sold you, you'll come back to me. And if I don't have money, you'll go to my lekuchos. That's called a chayes. Shaloi b'achayes means no guarantees. I'm not guaranteeing you can't go to my lekuchos. Now, the big machlekes says, if I don't have a chrayas, do I assume do we still say that a chrayas is there? Why? Because it's missing a chrayas to soifer. To soifer means it was a mistake of the soifer. He didn't write it, but really he should be there. Or I say, no, if you didn't write it, I'm assuming there's no chrayas. So when here you have to write, this shtar, there's no chrayas. Especially if you don't write it, there will be a chrayas. So you see a chrayas is to soifer. If you're missing that chrayas, it's a to soifer. Having the kosev la'achi, not because he wrote it, there's no chrayas. I look kosev la'achi, he'd be going it. So really, achar is not a sefer. What does it mean? You give him a shtar with achar? Because you just omit the achar. Any shtar that doesn't have a achar in it, doesn't have the guarantee in it, there's no guarantees. In order to have guarantees, you have to write the guarantee. So he changes the lashon. Not that you write that there's no achar, but you just give him a shtar. There was this woman gave money to this person to buy a land. Also, he goes and he buys a land with no guarantees. So this is, by the way, he spoke about guarantees. Also, she won't go in front of Nachman. She didn't send you to do a bad purchase. This is a big cloud. I send you to do things correctly, not to do it wrong. If you're my shliach, you have to do it the most perfect way. If you're not, you're not my shliach. So what should you do? Meaning, so the shliach, he will take the land with no achayis, because he took a shliach, and he will give the land to the isha with achayis, his own achayis. He will be responsible because he messed up. He messed up by buying a land with no guarantees. He's going to have to give the guarantee. Now, what does it mean? Take it shliach achayis? He already took it. So when we Rishonim learn, the pshat is lav davka, meaning he already took it. Now that you took it, whatever you took Shlo B'Achayis, that's your mess up. You got to give a guarantee, and if she'll come to you, if someone will take it, you have to pay her, and you're going to lose out. You have no Achayis, but she has Achayis. Some say, I think the Rosh is the one who says it here, that this sale is void. She sent it to do for a purpose. What was the purpose? For her to buy a good thing. The sale is void. There's no sale. If sale is void, so what are you doing? He says, no, but you have to go back. But she says, I don't want my money back. I want the land. Goes back to the seller. She wants the land. Seller says, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to give guarantees. You want to do the sale again? No problem, but no guarantees. That's my deal. I'm not giving you with guarantees. So then he says, you have to buy it again without Achayis and sell with Achayis. That's why it says the more again, he's buying Shlo B'Achayis, because once he messed up, he has to take care of it, and even though he's taking no guarantees, he has to get her a land with a guarantee with Achayis. So there's a few more lines. Now this few lines is very important because this really it brings the whole sugya together. So a person gave a gift. Reuben gave a gift to Shimon. Shimon gave the star back to Reuben. Shaila is the gift returned, meaning is a gift void, or it's not. The Gemara tries in the beginning to say one explanation. Said says maybe it's like a type of condition. I give you a land with a deed. As long as you have the deed, it's your land. You don't have the deed, it's not your land. So he gave the deed back to the to the giver, so he doesn't have the land. If so, if the deed got lost or got stolen, also he doesn't have the deed. So if it's conditioned by having the deed, he doesn't have the deed. That's what we said before in Amud Aleph. Is there serious nikas v'mesir when you give a shtar to somebody else? Handing the shtar, is that considered to be a kinyan of the shtar with whatever the shtar includes, which is the karka? Meaning that when you're giving the shtar to somebody else, so the gift just by giving the shtar, you're having here a mesir, you might say the karka. So once, let's see Loshen Rashbam over here just to end. We have the Rashbam in the third wide line. Shimon Gamliel, sorry, serious, bein d'shtoy mekach. Doesn't matter if it's a sale. Bein d'matono, nikros la mikabel matone v'lokeach b'mesiras hashtar. Given the shtar that says koin. Klomar al b'shit barim eino nikrim, kivan d'chtuvim b'shtar, even though you usually have to have a kinyan. Here that's within the shtar, nikrim im kabbalah saklaf. By giving the klaf, by giving the shtar, you're koin. That's what it is. So here we have the same thing. It goes into the sugi over there, we learned earlier. So if I'm giving you if they're giving the shtar back, the matana is void. Something on mekach memker. If I gave the shtar back, there's no mekach over here. So that's what Shmuel says. Don't write another deed. So why not? Because maybe the first deed you gave back to the seller, and then the karka is void, and then the sale is void because you gave it back. So if you give another shtar, then it's the two pshatim and taisis. Either because then the second one is a lie, or the first one is a lie. One of them does not work once you give it back, but giving back is good enough to do it. That's why you can't rely on it. But good to your problem, giving back a shtar doesn't do anything because you have to do actual kinyan. So that's why I don't mind giving him a deed with no achrayas according to Rabbi. Besides, Rabbi say stop over here. It was a difficult daf, not an easy daf to understand. Besides, Rabbi say, Be'ez Hashem, finishing with Seches Basra next week. And then we will start Sanhedrin. It's a Kol Tov.